Hello and welcome to Let's Review. Nostalgia can be a very weird thing. It makes us remember things as better than they were. But sometimes, that doesn't really matter. Today, I want to talk about the first game that I ever really played. And I'm not going to pretend that this will be an objective look back. But it does, once again, give me an opportunity to go digging in the crate. What's that old line? You never forget your first time. First kiss, first love, first video game. Mine was equal parts violence, bizarre noises, and Robert Picardo. But enough about my first kiss. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. What? I was just despairing of that joke. Too obvious? Well, for my taste, certainly. Well, then I'll try to do better. As the name implies, Elite Force is set on Voyager, towards the tail end of its 6th season. It follows the adventures of Ensign Monroe, the second-in-command of the newly formed Hazard Team, a group of security officers who have been specially trained to handle especially dangerous away missions. This is actually a pretty good idea. And so naturally it never turns up in the show. Always the issue with expanded universe type fiction. Besides, everyone knows that Starfleet away teams must contain at least one captain or first officer. I know, illogical as that is. Shortly after the beginning of the game, Voyager is attacked by a strange alien probe. Forced to defend themselves, Voyager destroys the probe, and upon its destruction it emits a wave that transports Voyager to a strange region of space, one covered by a dampening field that drains away Voyager's power, leaving them with barely enough for life support, transporters, holodecks. Plot convenient dampening field, then. Is there any other kind? The Hazard Team ends up being dispatched to various other alien ships, including a Borg cube and a space station that's composed of Malon, Hirogen, Klingon, and Mirror Universe human ships, basically just because. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty much a standard FPS, though it's from the good old days when FPS games actually let you carry a ridiculous number of guns, 9 in this case. And it's also the only game I can think of off the top of my head that actually gives an explanation of how one person is able to carry that many guns. Dimensionally transcendental pockets? Kinda. Monroe is actually carrying a small transporter buffer on his belt, so whenever he needs a new gun, he just snaps the old one in, it dematerializes, and then the new one rematerializes in his hand. This is actually a really brilliant idea, and it makes complete sense with Starfleet technology at that time. Naturally, of course, it never turns up anywhere else, but, well, this is what you come to expect. The thing that really makes this game work for me is the setting and the level of love that's clearly gone into it. All the cast, bar Jerry Ryan, reprised their roles from the show, and to be fair, she was patched in later when her schedule allowed her to record the dialogue. It's also worth noting that the Hazard Team themselves are actually pretty good. They're all pretty likeable. What? Even Beesman? Hell yes, even Beesman. Look, I'm sorry, every team needs a complete dickhead played by Tom Wilson. It's just really fantastic and it works really well. Look, I love this game so much that even years after I last played it, I can still give a complete walkthrough of the first level from memory. You're not actually going to do that, are you? Well, I am now. Oh, good lord. The level begins on a Borg cube. The rest of the Hazard Team has been captured, and your mission is to rescue them and recover 7 of 9's prototype Infinity Modulator, a weapon that modulates its frequency rapidly which should hopefully prevent the Borg from adapting to it, at least for a brief time. You begin in a smallish room with effectively a T-junction ahead of you. Go forward, turn left. There you'll see a green force field with a strange box next to it. This box is a dis node. Technically speaking, it's a distribution node, but they tend to get shortened to dis node. Blow that up, and it disables the force field as well as all the nearby drones. Follow through the area where the force field used to be, and follow the corridor round. That's to the right and up, and then again to the right and up. You'll then enter another small chamber with a few more drones, follow that down, and you'll come to another T-junction, turn left, and then look at the left-hand wall of that short corridor. On there is another dis node. Blow that up, then turn 180 degrees round, and head through the now open force field. You'll find yourself in a room with a large pillar in the centre. Go to the right, head round, and keep an eye on the centre of the room, where you'll eventually spot a plasma thing that you can destroy. Do this, and that will blow open a grate. You can then hop up, crouch down through the grate, then clamber up the ladder, follow that along, where you'll encounter a checkpoint save, and then you'll encounter a large object blocking your way. You can either just nudge this and it'll fall, or you can shoot it and it'll fall. Either way, it'll crush a Borg drone beneath it. Hop down there, circle around there, get into the lift. Hit the button, you'll descend into a room that has a captive beesman and the infinity modulator. Take out the drone manning the table. This is pretty easy to do. All you really need to do is hit him with the alternate fire of the phaser rifle, and that'll kill him instantly. And then grab the infinity modulator from the table. A couple of Borg drones will beam in at this point. Take them out with the iMod, and then hit the button on the panel to release beesman. This also allows you to leave that room. Go out there, follow the corridor around, take out the drone in his regeneration pod, because otherwise he'll become hostile later. And you'll see one of the other members of the Hazard team, if memory serves, it's Chang, in a combat situation with some Borg drones who have adapted to his phaser rifle. If you save him, he and an injured crew member will beam back. Go through where they were just thrown from, and turn left. You'll enter an area with a blue force field. You can't do anything about that blue force field immediately, because there isn't a dis node for it. So instead, you take the lift down, take out a couple more drones. There'll be another thing you can take out, and then crouch down. You crouch down, you go through there. Side note, fill up your weapon before you do this trick, otherwise you won't be able to afterwards. Crouch down, go through there, follow that down, follow it down some more, and you'll eventually come to an area that's underneath where you were before. If you look up, there's a bunch of the plasma things you destroyed earlier all clustered around the top. One shot to that and the whole thing explodes. You then retrace your steps back up, some more Borg drones will beam in, but if you stay crouched within the duct, they can't actually reach you and you can pick them off with ease. You then take the lift back up, and you go through where the blue force field used to be, and you've completed the first level. And that was all off the top of my head. I cannot decide whether to be impressed or to shake my head dismissively. No, wait. I have decided. Elite Force was not a perfect game, despite what my nostalgia wants me to think. The graphics really have not dated well, and the final boss is actually incredibly difficult compared to the rest of the game, to the point where it's actually kind of frustrating. But even so, I'm willing to give it a pass on its issues because it feels like Star Trek. Most modern Star Trek games end up feeling like something generic with a Star Trek coat of paint slapped on. Elite Force, though, has an entire level where all you do is help to repair the ship. Diplomacy is the key to solving situations many times, instead of just straight-up violence. And frankly, at the end of the day, there's enough love and passion been put into it that you can forgive what flaws it does have. I can't honestly recommend you go out and try and find a copy, purely because getting it running on a modern system can be very tricky. But I would strongly recommend you keep half an eye on GOG just in case it ever turns up there, because it is definitely worth playing. And that's not just my nostalgia talking. Elite Force did get a full sequel, imaginately entitled Elite Force 2, but I'm going to talk about that some other time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I feel like a Star Trek marathon. I'll see you later.